Licenses for brewery tap rooms, distilleries, wine festivals. The omnibus liquor bill typically contains many elements, and the senator crafting this year's bill joins me now to discuss the different provisions. Senator Chris Gerlach, thanks for joining us on Capitol Report.
Glad to be here, Julie.
Senator, let's begin with some of the provisions of the bill that you think might impact Minnesotans the most.
Well, sure. Well, I should first explain that these provisions are all brought forth by individual members. And as the chairman of the Senate Commerce Committee, I then put them together, and we have an omnibus liquor bill. We make decisions about what should be in the omnibus bill, maybe what would go separately, what should just sort of lay on the cutting room floor, and we put this together then.
Which is why you're the crafter of this.
Yes, well, so the omnibus bill generally has items that are not with great controversy. These would be items that have been ironed out for the most part. Not complete consensus, but pretty much. And we have there's a number of things on the list. Everything from Senator Julie Rosen has a provision for the city of Winnebago for craft brewers to be able to escape from a heavy state licensing fee just because they want to bring in some craft beer from another state for a one-day or a weekend-long event. And so we're carving out a little exemption to make that happen. Those types of things. Senator John Howe from Red Wing has a couple of different ones dealing with wine. One of them has to do with our Minnesota farm wineries being able to use bulk wine from other states in small amounts to be able, when the grape crop isn't as good as it should have been, and to sort of even out their business. He has also one for wine festivals. Now, last year we passed a wine festival provision of his, and we did not allow for any people to take off sale, meaning to take a bottle of wine home with them. So this year what we did is we added a provision of his that would allow people to attend the annual wine festival and then be able to take up to a maximum of 6 bottles home with them. So there's those types of things are things we've done. And there are others.
And Senator, you're saying that this typically is not a controversial bill. So what are some of the items that perhaps were a bit too controversial that were taken out and taken up as separate provisions?
Let me also say that it's sometimes it can be controversial.
Yeah, there have been times.
I've tried to decide if something should go separately or not. And there are probably a couple of controversial ones that were not included. One of them dealt with what's called primary source, and that has to do with wholesalers and with spirits, distilled spirits. It was a business versus business dispute. It was a bill we gave a hearing to, and we heard the issues. Initially, I had included it in the bill, but there was a motion in committee to remove it, and that prevailed, so we took that out. Now, will it be offered up on the floor as an amendment? It's possible, and we'll debate it on the floor. But that's an example of one that was not included. Also, the Minnesota Grocers Association were promoting a bill to allow for multiple licenses for a single owner. Current law is, if you're within a city, you can't own more than one liquor store as a single owner. And the idea was to prevent monopoly control and of a highly regulated industry being liquor, and to diffuse that. Well, of course, grocery stores, among other drugstores and such, can have a separate liquor store, and they want to be able to do multiple locations, and it's very controversial. If you're a mom and pop liquor store, that can really change the game, so to speak. That was not included, and an amendment was not offered up in committee, so that's there. But those are a couple of examples of some more controversial ones that were not included.
You did give Senator Sandy Pappas a hearing on her bill, which allows 18 to 21-year-olds to have a cocktail if they're out to dinner with their parents. What do you think of this provision?
At first, my first initial thought was, absolutely not. We can't do something like that. It'll affect federal highway funds, and this is not something we would do. But you know what? She made a case for it, and the committee decided that what we would do is send it on to the Transportation Committee to take a look at. So I did not include it in the omnibus bill. We did vote it out of committee, and then on the floor, actually, she had discussed this with the transportation chair, and he said that it had been altered and such and wouldn't affect transportation funding, and so it was then sent off to the Judiciary Committee. So there it is right now, and I don't know what her plans would be about what the committee might do it there, or if she had plans to offer it as an amendment. And it's a very intriguing issue that I think it'll probably end up as a floor vote at some point.
Yeah, so let's pontificate a bit. If it doesn't make it out in time to meet the committee deadlines, and she does opt to actually introduce this as an amendment into the omnibus bill, would you support it?
Me personally, honestly, I really don't know right now. I voted it out of committee. My personal vote was to vote for it, just because I thought it was interesting enough to have some legs to move on to some other committees and get a further hearing on it. If it came to a final vote on the floor, I honestly don't know. I'd have to look at it a lot more closely.
And we're just about out of time, but I did want to ask you, are there any surprises for you this session concerning this bill, either issues that didn't come up or that did and you weren't expecting them to?
I would have thought that there would have been more of a push by the University of Minnesota on the TCF stadium to the ongoing dispute about whether the regents should decide if liquor is an option there. But that issue never came up from anywhere. That was a bit of a surprise. I thought there would have been more of an initiative to do that.
What about Sunday liquor sales?
Sunday liquor was one we passed out of the committee last year. It's entirely in the author's hands. Senator Roger Reinert from Duluth, being a border legislator on the border, they tend to be more interested in the Sunday sales issue, but he has not brought that up. I believe it's in the Finance Committee, and I don't know that he's actually pursued that. So I don't know.
Okay. Well, Senator Gerlach, we're out of time. Thank you for talking a little bit about the bill today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.